You know, I've been thinking a lot about regret. You know, the detransitioners. We even had a detransition day the other day. The detransitioners that come out, that they are famous, they're seen a lot, they're showcased. It's always the same names. And it seems to me that they're positioned in a place to try and restrict or withdraw care and support for those people who really are transgender and who really do want to transition. Um, but yet, it detracts us from the real issue of regret, which is very real. And in everything in life that we do, there will be regret. There will be pondering whether that was the right decision or not. There will be wondering, what if I hadn't done this? What if I'd done this sooner? What if I had done this in a different way? What if I hadn't done this quite the same way I did? What if I hadn't gone so fast? What if I had taken the opportunity to do that when I had the opportunity, but I didn't? What if I hadn't taken those hormones? What if I had taken those blockers? What if I hadn't taken those blockers and then would never have had the hormones? What about surgery? What if I had had the blockers and then didn't need the surgery afterwards, but I didn't take the blockers? And then what about if I do have surgery and then I regret the surgery, or the outcome of the surgery isn't what you wanted? Or what if you took hormones and you're hoping for that second puberty, hoping that you would then be able to blend and pass as somebody with the gender that you identify, and maybe it doesn't work that way. And then there's a load of other regret. There's the regret of what your life, how your life changed because of the steps that you took, and also those people around you. Did you lose family members? Did you lose friends? Did your life change? Did your job change? Did your social circle change? Did the way you live your life change? So there are many different ways that we can regret the decisions we make. There's also the progression of our understanding of gender identity, and when the realization is that your gender identity isn't the one that you were assigned at birth. What does that mean for you? Does that mean that you were assigned female at birth, but you are actually male, or you're assigned male at birth, but you're actually female, and you go all the way? And then you realize, actually, maybe all the way wasn't the right place for you, maybe somewhere in the middle. And not forgetting that non-binary identities and agender identities, which is when you're neither male or female, or you're a bit of both, maybe somewhere along the spectrum. It doesn't have to be 50-50, it could be 30-70, 70-30. So those non-binary identities are very little spoken about, and we don't understand them. So when you're younger, when the realization happens that your gender is different to the one that you were assigned at birth, you automatically think that maybe your gender identity is completely the opposite. But actually, what if it's somewhere in the middle? And then what if you took medicines or had surgical procedures to align your gender identity with the complete opposite to the one that you were assigned at birth? What happens then? Because maybe you took it too far. Maybe that wasn't your true gender identity. Maybe your gender identity was somewhere more near the middle. And what if you took things too far, but you didn't know that that was going to be too far? There's so many questions, and it's very difficult, particularly in this arena now where it's difficult to be trans and the world is not that supportive of being trans. And these are the kind of questions that we should be unpicking for people, not whether or not it's okay to take puberty blockers and gender-affirming hormones, but how do we get this absolutely right for you? And also understanding that gender identity develops, or your own understanding of your own gender identity develops. The other aspect of regret that I want to talk about is actually the regret of people who may have supported you. So say if you came out, you're trans, you want to take steps, medical steps, legal steps, surgical steps, and somebody supported you because that was the right thing to do. And support is always the right thing to do. But what if they did support you and then you regretted the medicines that you took? You regretted the pubertal changes that came. You regretted the surgery that you had. Where does that leave the person that supported you? And I do think it's really important that we understand that the support is vital. And when someone comes out to you as trans and says, this is what I'm thinking of doing, by all means, go through it, discuss it, talk about it, talk to specialists, talk to experts in the field. But support is the right thing to do. And then if it turns out that actually there is some regret, or wasn't quite the right thing to do, don't beat yourself up about it. Supporting is really, really important. And the support for the next stage of, okay, so now hasn't turned out quite how you wanted. It hasn't turned out like we expected. What shall we do about that now? How shall we go about making changes, taking steps, reversing medicines, reversing surgery, so that we can better align ourselves with our gender identity? So there may be regret from those people around somebody who has taken steps that they regret. And it's a complex situation. And I would always urge people to find somebody good to talk to, somebody who understands gender affirming care, somebody who understands gender identity. And this isn't about waving fingers and saying you shouldn't have done that. It's about supporting people through the whole journey, and also supporting somebody in their new gender identity, because we're not born to understand this. We have to evolve. We have to see how the world treats us, how society will treat us, how we see ourselves, our relationships with those around us, and the changes that come from living in a different gender identity role than the one that perhaps you were used to living in, or the one that you were newly living in and then maybe changed to live in a different gender role, for example, a non-binary gender role. So regret is real. Regret is real for every single step that a human ever takes. There's always a chance of regret. That doesn't mean that we did it wrong. It doesn't mean that you made a mistake. It just means that the outcome that you had been expecting or hoping for wasn't quite right, and we need to work towards the new outcome that you're hoping for and the expectations. And that's a really important positive mindset shift. No, regret doesn't mean beating yourself up about it. Regret means, what shall we do about making sure that we live our best life? And the people who support you, whether that's your family, your friends, a loved one, or people in society, professionals, make sure you get that right support. Gender incongruence is very real. We don't fully understand it. It's difficult when it lands in your lap. And it's difficult to always make the right decisions that you know are going to absolutely be the best outcome for you. And it's an ever-evolving situation for you and for those around you. I really hope that helps. Thank you for watching. I'm really interested in your thoughts about all this. Drop your comments below.